getting into K-pop, it will be because of this book. Hello, my lovely friends, it's Margaret. Welcome back to my channel. Today, it is time for another Fresh Reads Friday. If you are new to the channel, Fresh Reads Friday is the occasional review series where I take a book that I have read recently, really enjoyed, and I think you will enjoy too. Today, we are going to be talking about XOXO by Axie Oh. This is a YA romance about Jenny and Jaewoo. Jenny is a cellist from New York City. She's dealing with some not stellar feedback she has gotten at her last review. She's getting ready to go into her final year or semester of high school. She's getting ready to kind of like go forth and be like try and get all of the stuff that she's going to need to be able to make this a sustainable career. And she's not really feeling great about all of that when she meets Jaewoo at her uncle's karaoke bar. And as reasonable when you meet a boy who's being annoying, she challenges him to a karaoke battle. And that leads to them just kind of hanging out in New York City for the night. He leaves to go back to Korea, and she's like, I'm never gonna see him again. And then, as it turns out, her mom comes in the very next day, is like, hey, I've got to go to Korea to take care of your grandmother. She's having a surgery. And Jenny's like, why don't I just go with you? There's a prestigious art school over there that I can be a part of, and I don't have to be by myself in New York City for 3 or 4 months alone. And her mother agrees to it. So she goes over there, and guess who just so happens to be going to this prestigious art school? Yes, it is Jaewoo. Also, he just so happens to be one of the members of a K-pop group, XOXO. So just general thoughts. I really enjoyed this book. I gave it 5 stars. I really liked the audiobook. I don't speak Korean, so it was nice to be able to know how things were supposed to be pronounced instead of having to kind of guess by what I was reading, would have been reading on the page. I would have been very wrong in a few cases, so just glad that I had that. In general, I thought that this was really well put together and very well balanced in regards to all of the things that are going on in Jenny's life at this point in time and the threads that the author is pulling at. It's not just like a one-note rom-com type book where everything is about the romance. So nothing wrong with that, but considering everything that is going on in Jenny's life, it is nice to see kind of that experience filled out and rounded out. So, all right, now that I've given you my general thoughts on this book, let's get into some specifics. As always, we will start with the thing that is most important to me as a reader, which is character. If I am not interested in your characters, there is almost zero chance I will enjoy your book. I found them all very compelling and complicated, not just our main characters, but a lot of the side characters. Axie Oh did a really good job fleshing everyone out and giving us a rather interesting depth of characters. Like, we don't just have a Jenny and Jaewoo, we have Jenny's friends that she makes in Korea, we have Jenny's family, we have people that have been in Jenny's life. We don't see as much of them, but they do come on, make their own stamp on her story, and influence some of the things that are going to happen later. The side characters, especially like her mom and her grandmother, really add to the plot. They're not just there as plot devices, they really do have an influence on certain aspects of what is going on certain aspects of what Jenny is learning as she is at this school and trying to figure out what the heck these people mean when they say you're technically perfect but there's no spark. Even her uncle, he not only has an effect in motivating her, or asking her basically to go help him with this random dude that's out of time at his karaoke bar, you also get to see the influence of his relationship on her throughout the rest of the book. The character we probably see the most influence, I would say, is probably her mom. This is a very good book if you were looking for something that's gonna kind of, if you enjoy stories that go into mother-daughter relationships, because this is a lot about the relationship between her and her mom. This is a lot about her making new friends. This is a lot about her figuring out what her future is going to look like, trying to deal with the fact that she's trying to get into a specific school so that she can continue on in her career and like actually become someone who is playing for orchestras and symphonies and those kinds of things. I did spend most of my high school and college in and around arts and music schools, knowing kids who were in music school, and I found that it was very accurate to some of the experiences of the people that I knew. I found that the amount of effort and stuff that she was having to put in to being as good as she was, taking like her natural talents and not just relying on those, but truly focusing on and improving her craft. The pressure she was under at the beginning of the book is one that I have heard about quite often and seen people like dealing with in my life. And it was nice because we did get to see quite a bit of that because the school that she goes to, there are a lot of people there for singing, for dancing, for all of those different things. Another thing I thought Axie Oh handled really well was how she ends up expanding the cast and how we end up introduced to different characters and then becoming closer to some of those characters that are going to end up being important to Jenny. We don't get dumped with all of them all at once. We kind of meet some here, meet some there, meet another one here, and like they all have their own time at which point they start to interact and actually be a part of Jenny's life. And I thought that the way that that was structured and like spaced throughout the book was really, really like interesting and a well-crafted kind of entrance, I guess, for each character. As for the plot, I really enjoyed the fact that the plot is both cute and quirky in places, but also very serious. I mean, we've got a girl who she's having to visit her grandmother in the hospital as she's preparing for this surgery, but we also have this girl who is experiencing like her first real crush for the very first time, like all of those firsts that come with your first relationship. And because she is dating a K-pop star and she has to keep it on the down low, there are some antics that they do have to get up to actually be able to hang out with each other and spend time together. And it is kind of funny to see them trying to be very stealthy and like spies and that kind of thing. It's really, really cute. I do think that the plot really gets into how demanding music can be as a career choice, because it is not something like, it's not something where you are going to like only the top of the top of the top make a lot of money. It is something that for the most part, people that you see in orchestras and symphonies and those kinds of things, that is actually like, it's a side job. It's something that they do after they've done their real job, especially if we talk about like smaller stuff in the community. There are not a lot of people that can, for example, be a violinist and be a violinist on a level that it is a sustainable career. So the fact that the plot kind of really dives into that and dives into the pressures that these students and these kids are to do well, to stand out, to be the one that's going to be able to like catch the eye of people who are going to make or break their careers, that was a very real feeling moment for me. I also like that like the central theme of this wasn't necessarily romance, it was relationship, because we do have the romance between Jaewoo and Jenny. We get all of the uncertainty, we get the trepidation, all of that stuff of, I like this boy, does he like me, going into that first relationship, as I said, and all of that. But we also get a lot about how friendship works and how family affects us. And I really like the fact that we're looking at all three of those through this one character. She's sitting there and she is examining her mom and her grandmother's relationship. She is examining her relationship to these new friends that she has. She's also having this new relationship with her new boyfriend. Like all of that stuff is all kind of coming under this central theme about relationship and how it affects us and how vulnerable relationships can make us. I felt that the plot was as much about friendship and family as it was about the romance. As for world building, because I've said it before, I will say it again, you need world building even in contemporary books. Just putting that out there. I thought that Axie Oh did a really good job of making Seoul a very visualizable concept in this book. She does a really good job of being quick and effective in her descriptions and keeping things on pace as she is going through, but still giving you enough to build a setting around Jenny as she goes through things. I also like the fact that just built into this plot, into this world, is this examination of the positive and the negatives of idol culture. We don't really get into the nitty-gritty of contracts, of what idols can and can't do, but those things do still affect the plot and the characters, and so we get kind of the peripheral, the little bit that like is actually affecting human beings. It also goes into, in great depth, some of the toxicity that you will see in fandom and in internet spaces and like with the paparazzi. It really does get into how hard it is to be a celebrity and still have like just basic levels of privacy. We see the effects of what being famous does to people, and you do in places question why anyone would want to be famous. I do like that we got more than just the school. We definitely, like, there was enough plot. Things could have happened just within this school. Because she's at school and it's her senior year, we also get to go on like the senior trip with her. We get to see her interacting with her grandmother. We get to see her meeting other people. That might be a spoiler, so I'm not going to tell you who it is she gets to meet. But like, we don't just stay in one place, and I really liked the fact that like the places that she chose and the where we were going, like they really were very carefully chosen for the plot and for what they were going to expose both the reader and Jenny to. Alright, so those are my thoughts for XOXO by Axie Oh. Like I said, I really recommend this book. I had just a fun time reading this, and if you haven't read it, you should. If you are feeling chatty, please let me know in the comments. Have you read this book? Do you know anything whatsoever about K-pop and where I should start if I were to get into it? Oh dear God, I have opened the gates of heaven. If you are not feeling chatty but you still want to let me know that you watched to the end of the video, go ahead and leave me the violin/cello emoji. It comes up under both of them, so just, you know, they can't make up their mind apparently. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Also, if you enjoyed this video, I will have more Fresh Reach Friday videos over here and whatever is newest on my channel down here. That is it for now, my friends. Happy reading, and I will see you later when we will talk about more wordy, nerdy things. Bye!